Hey everybody, Tekking101 here to review Bleach Chapter 483, entitled... God, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But fear not, folks. After all, this is the year 2012. The internet's translation capabilities have far exceeded anyone else's expectations. So, let's go to the highest translator in the land, Google Translate. Okay, so what do we got here? Oh, declaration of war. Okay, that makes a lot of sense when you know, because last chapter the Quincies said they're declaring war, so it would make sense that it's written in German, because I guess that's the motive that Kubo gave to the Quincies. The confusing part is that a lot of people sent me messages like, weren't the bounce German? And yeah, they were. So we ended up with two. I don't really think that the German motif was very heavy on the Quincies up to that point in the manga. So when the bounce came in, I guess they just thought, you know, we'll just do the German thing and no one will notice. Even though it did end up kind of making sense, because the bounce did have a connection with the Quincies in the end, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to go back to the bounce arc. But anyway, before we start the actual chapter, I just got to take a moment to point out the amazing title page with Ichigo and Yuki. And not so much Yuki, but just that awesome cloak that Ichigo's wearing with the half of the hood being his hollow mask. I think that might be Kubo just going ahead and saying, yes, Ichigo's hollow is still there. I mean, really, why else would he show it? I mean, just to look cool. I mean, because that is pretty cool. That needs to be seen in the actual manga. Someone needs to make him a cloak like that, because that is awesome. So we cut back to where the last chapter cut off, where we're at the Captain Commander's office, and the mysterious Quincies are making a note that, you know, I've wondered this before every time we've seen the head captain's office, because if you've ever seen it, I don't think they showed that well in the manga, but every time it's seen in the anime, Captain Yamamoto's office doesn't have a wall on one side. It's a door here, and then the room, and then the entire right side of the room is nothing but like a giant patio, like a giant balcony. Like someone could easily just, like, you know, shumpo right onto it, right in front of his desk. And that's apparently what these guys did. Well, Hyarin Yaku, whatever the high-speed movement the Quincies do. But yeah, so they just show up and they're like, wow, it was surprisingly easy to break into your head office. And Yamamoto just simply mentions, well, there's no need for security because I'm the in. So yeah. Kind of badass. But the Quincies don't think it's badass. The Quincies said that those will be their last arrogant words. Genrusai Yamamoto. Yeah, you know, Kubo really likes to use the word arrogant. Like, every time I'm not going to do a shonen cliche, just because I don't think it happens that often, but it's just like this chapter and last chapter, and it's shown up every time before. Every time a character says, you know, I'm going to beat you up, their immediate response is, you're arrogant. I'm going to put those arrogant words in your I'm just saying, it happens a lot. So then we cut back to Karakura Town, where we get Ichigo and Ivan's fight. Ivan's bow is apparently, I thought they were like spikes, but they're more like pipe protrusions that are coming out of his bow, and from each of these protrusions he can shoot a giant-sized arrow. So Ivan uses those to shoot giant arrows at Ichigo. He bats them away, in which he questions, what was that? And he's of course referring to the Quincy Pentacle. And at first I was like, really, Ichigo? You couldn't tell that was a Quincy cross thing? I mean, I know you're not the sharpest tack in the drawer when comparing to other Shinigami characters. I was going to make fun of that, but then I started realizing that, well, I guess if you want to do a realism factor, Ivan was kind of far away, and Ichigo probably didn't see the cross when it came out. I mean, just the fact that he would even, like, see it at all from that distance. But, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Ichigo didn't see what it is in full. But he recognizes that it was the Quincy Pentacle, that it was resembling of Uryu. But also he says that because Ivan has a mask, only a Rancor should wear those. And I'm just sitting there reading this like, you know, Ichigo, just because he's wearing a mask doesn't mean he's in a Rancor. Maybe he just wants to wear a mask. Maybe that's just his thing, you know? I mean, you really shouldn't be shocked much. I mean, look at all the freaking crazy fashion designs the Shinigami have. I mean, really, just because the guy wears a mask doesn't make him a Rancor. So Ivan just keeps bombarding Ichigo with arrows, and he keeps shouting, you know, threats at him, like, oh, what are you doing? You're just dodging over and over again. And Ichigo, to his credit, he understands that he's taunting him for a reason. I mean, of course, he just says what that reason is later on. I want you to do your flipping Bankai. And, of course, because Ichigo is so intelligent, he's going to do exactly what the bad guy wants him to do, and he initiates his Bankai. Okay, so then we continue on to the next page, where, holy Christmas! Okay, this guy's really starting to scare me. Like, a little bit. I actually have a funny story to say about this because, the first time I read this chapter today, I was in my college. I was at my college, and we have this little room that's just like a little tiny room, barely bigger than this, really. And there's there's 4 computers in there. You know, students can go in there and study on the computers. And it was packed when I went in there. I got a computer. I was reading the chapter. I was taking snippets. And when this page came up, you know, trying to explain to people what manga is one thing, but when I'm literally just sitting in there in a crowded room and people are studying and talking and stuff, and that comes up on the freaking monitor, the reactions were quite humorous. One guy said, "Is that the Joker?" Which, in response, I said, well, not far off, really, but, So after we see that thing, we go into a next panel where Ivan elaborates, you know, finally, this is the end for you, Ichigo Kurosaki. Your Bankai ends here. And this is where the artwork gets a little confusing. I was really trying to pay attention to this. From what I can see, Ivan pulls another object out of his pocket. I'm not really sure what it is. It looks kind of like an eye or like a glass container, like an eye. And out of that comes like a black sphere. Now, on the next page, Ichigo completes his Bankai, and then the black circle turns into like a black cross with Ivan in the center, because we can kind of make out his bow in the center. We can't exactly see him, but we see part of his bow in the center, and then this cross with 4 holes on each side. So really kind of hard to tell, you know, judging by, I mean, in the anime it's going to look so much better, but just right now it's kind of hard to tell here. So Ichigo finishes his Bankai, and a bunch of rays of energy come down. They all link together, like forming like a cage around Ichigo. And meanwhile, Ivan kind of starts acting like he's possessed. His eye goes blank, and he starts chanting this incantation. Okay, you know, I just gotta stop right here. Okay, Ivan, you're a new character to the manga. You just showed up. I don't expect you to know everything yet. So I'm gonna fill you in on the basic formula for how Bleach works at this point in the story. And don't worry, I'll go really easy on you. I'll explain it in very simple mathematical terms. Ichigo plus new powers times a new Bankai equals you dead. Now, I hope you'll understand that, Ivan, and stop shouting your demon speak, because really, it's not going to go any... Alright, fine, dude. You want to keep doing it? Go ahead. You know how it's going to end. So, of course, Ichigo shatters his weird spell thing, and while Ivan is standing there dumbfounded like, what? It didn't work! Ichigo proceeds to shove a Getsuga Tensho directly into his freaking face. I mean, we don't really see what happens, but when you consider that this is Ichigo in his new Bankai, and also this is the first time I think he's actually used a Getsuga Tensho in his new Bankai form, we could probably hazard a guess what's going to happen to Ivan. He's not going to be fighting much anymore. That's just my assumption. But anyway, so we cut back to the Captain Commander's office in the Soul Society, where we see Chojiro beaten down for like a 4th time. Alright, you know, this guy gets so much freaking punishment, and he gets the least amount of screen time. This is why I really like Chojiro. I really do. Just because he never shows up. He never does. He's basically Kubo's punching bag when it comes to these kind of things. I mean, really think about it, okay? In the Soul Society arc, his first fight, his first shining moment that would define the rest of his character is a fight against Ichigo. And of course, we know he's not going to win, but maybe he can go out with some dignity. Now Ichigo just uppercuts him and takes him out in 1 hit. Okay, so maybe not the best entrance for your character, but hey, we got to see what his Shikai was, so maybe he'll do something more important in the future. Okay, so we flash forward a couple hundred chapters, we get to the Fake Karakura Town arc. Oh look, there's Chojiro! There he is, he's gonna fight, he's gonna show everyone that he can actually do something, and then he just freaking disappears! Yeah, I mean, I know they explain it later on that he was outside the barrier and he let the visors in, but really, I really think Kubo just flat out forgot about him. I really do, because he's right there in the crowd. So, are we really supposed to think that while he's in the crowd of Shinigami waiting to take on Aizen, Yamamoto just kind of like whispers in his ear like, "Oh, Chojiro, you're here. Oh, here's the thing. I don't need you to actually fight. What I need you to do is I need you to stand outside the barrier in case anyone would happen to come across the barrier even though there's no one in this area that we know that could come across the barrier, and open it in case we need extra help about halfway through the battle. But no, that'll never happen. And then Chojiro just left. We don't see him leaving. He just disappears. I think Kubo just forgot about him, and then just like, oh, how did the visors get in? Oh, Chojiro. Yeah, that'll make sense. I mean, I really do. I really like this character. I really wish Kubo would do more with him, especially since he's the vice captain of the freaking 1st Division. The strongest Shinigami is his captain. You'd think he'd be able to have a little bit more plot exposition now and then. No? Whatever. So, yeah, Chojiro gets taken down for like the 16th time. So, mysterious Quincies state that Yamamoto should praise Chojiro because he was so kind as to show you what your end will be. I mean, these guys are really confident in they're going to beat Yamamoto. So, I'm holding off hope here because these guys seem pretty freaking confident. At the end of the chapter, they state that in 5 days' time, Soul Society will be annihilated by the Vandenreich. Sideways smiley face. Yeah, sorry, I just really wanted to do another one. But seriously, this is a good one because I actually do know what the word Reich is in German, and that stands for like a kingdom or like an empire kind of thing. So, Vanden means... Okay, so Google Translate had no idea what Vanden is. The translation itself in this chapter could be messed up. I don't even know, but if anyone knows what Vandenreich means, go ahead. I mean, I know what Reich means, but Vanden I'm out of luck on because I don't know much German. I can count. That's about it. But anyway, so that's the chapter. What do I have to say about this one? Well, clearly they have a plan. I mean, these guys are aware of Yamamoto. They're aware of the Soul Society, so obviously they must have some kind of idea what they're going to do, because they barged into the Yamamoto's office, and they so clearly said, yeah, you're screwed. You're going to be annihilated in 5 days. So they obviously have some plan going on. I'm sorry, I'm still messed up with what they did to Chojiro. I like him, man. He needs to get more screen time. But anyway, so yeah, next chapter, I don't know, yeah, the end fight between Ivan and Ichigo. Ivan's not going to be dead, obviously. Ichigo would have, like, held back or something, or maybe more likely, maybe someone else showed up to help Ivan, because I really don't think Ivan can block a full frontal Getsuga Tensho and, you know, still be alive. So either someone will still be, you know, conscious enough to fight. So it's either someone's going to show up to help him, or he's just the fight's going to be ended, and Ichigo's just going to be like, okay, what the hell do you want? You're like the 5th people to invade my world. I don't know what we're going to do with the whole Ivan being in a Rancor thing, because Ichigo still kind of mentioned that, like, he might be in a Rancor because he has a mask, but I just think the guy likes to wear a mask. I really do. I think the Rancors, I mean, the Rancors were a thing that were last arc. I don't think Kubo's going to be bringing them back as, like, a main character. Maybe, some people are thinking they're, like, Quincy Rancor hybrids. I don't know. That doesn't seem plausible to me, because Quincies are supposed to be just regular humans with bolstered abilities. I can't really see how a fusion between those races could exist. But yeah. So I think there might be some, and also I think there might be some kind of weird connection between Ivan, I mean the Quincies in general, and Ichigo, because Ivan seems so freaking hell bent. Oh, this is the end of your Bankai. So they got some plans for Ichigo too, I'm sure. So. That's the end of the chapter. Tekking101 signing out.